those of you around the country, we're going to be dealing tonight with local politics here in Memphis, Tennessee. So stay tuned, y'all learn something to do in y'all areas of the country. As you know, I don't do many local shows. Now that we have such a vast audience from around the country. But there are some issues that need to be dealt with in Memphis, and these are persons who, somebody says, fuck you, cussing pastor. Already, damn. Well, you know your ass already gone. And I ain't even got on the air. And for those of you, you gone to, those of you on social media, this is not the damn church. This is a TV show. So if you're looking for Sunday morning, wait till Sunday morning. We're dealing with issues, and y'all might learn something. And I will block you permanently. How long I got, T? I got my intro tonight. Alabama in the house. DC in the house. Be slow, man. Your ass on. Let's do it.
The views and opinions expressed on this talk show are those of the talk show hosts and producers and/or persons appearing on the program and do not reflect the views and opinions of the SVP network. This program may include strong images and language and may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion advised. If you wanna know what's that, if you wanna know, ask that, he will let you know. What's that, it's the dirtiest that you show. 30 seconds.
Okay. Just when you thought it was safe, it is absolutely, positively not. And good Thursday evening, and welcome again to still the most controversial, the hardest hitting, the most informative, the rawest, not giving a damn who I talk about television talk show anywhere in the country. Thank you so very much for joining us. Hoping today that your day has been simply marvelous, no matter what it is that you've been doing all day. You all be ready now to take the lemons of your life and turn those into lemonade. And Hell, just forget all the negative stuff that folk are saying about you, whatever they're saying about you, and whoever they are that's saying it about you. Tonight, I'm dealing locally. Those of you on social media that watch me all across the country, I got to deal with some local issues, and those of you who are involved in your communities, you may learn something on tonight. I got two politicians in the house. First hour, I'm going to be talking with my longtime friend, Terry Roland, who is a candidate for the office of mayor of Shelby County. And in the second hour, a young man that I've known basically all of his life, Ed Ford Jr. is in the house. He's running for county commission. There are several people who are running against him. We're going to be talking with Ed Ford Jr., and I'm going to tell you why, in my opinion, that he is the better candidate. Tell you what I'm going to do, because I want to get Terry right on up here so we can talk about this. Terry is white. Terry is a Republican. And I support Terry Roland. I endorse Terry Roland 100%. Knowing the two Democrats that's running, hell, I support Terry Roland. And let's get this out of the way, and let me just say this, that when you need help in your community, you don't give a damn whether the help comes from a white man or a black man. If I need some help in the district that I live in, which he does not represent, where I pastor, where he does not represent, I call Terry Roland. When I was having an issue last year, after my son was murdered by a drunk driver, and they want to play politics with me downtown as far as releasing some information, there was not one black politician that moved for me. I called Terry Roland, and Terry Roland got that done that day. I've been having some issues this week with the church, and I think they're going to all disappear. I called Terry Roland, and I called Commissioner Eddie Jones. They got what I needed done. Let me explain something to you, especially in the African American community. Quit giving a damn about who's a Republican and who's a Democrat. Quit giving a damn about those who are one color or this color. You need the person that is going to get the job done. There are so many tricks that are being played in this political game, and especially in the black community. When I look at all of these various ballots that they have out, the ballots are not there to benefit the people in the community. These individuals who are printing these ballots are getting paid. There are people who are paying as much as $3,000 just to have their picture on some of these ballots. You should know who you're going to vote for when you get there. And let me tell you something that is almost criminal to me. I've known Janice Fully Love for many years, one of the supreme radio broadcasters in this area. Janice is sick. Janice is down to about 80 pounds. I'm hearing that Janice is going to have to go into the hospital. Janice cannot function in the position that she's running from. I'm just being honest. And some of y'all gonna get mad. I do not give a damn at all. But political hustlers, pimps in politics, and they're black. They put a black sick woman in the race because she has a name that people jump for. Janice fully loved if she was to win. And it's a very good chance she's going to win the Democratic nomination because her name is out there. Janice could not function as the clerk of juvenile court. The persons who have her running, they already know that. But they're looking to be given appointed positions as deputy administrators, things that you do not have to be elected to. So that if Janice is sick, that they can run the juvenile court clerk's office. I think that the individuals who convinced Janice to get in the race is doing her a serious injustice. They do not care about her. They care about the political game that they're playing. And it's almost, I hate to say, that Janice has no business in this race. She's sick. Janice is a very sick woman. Last time I saw her, I felt bad. She could not function for the next 4 years. In fact, I don't know how her husband is even allowing this madness to take place. But she's ill. And the guys just get her running. It's a shame. It's a shame. And you guys, Grant brothers, y'all need to be shamed. Because this is not only going to disable that particular office in juvenile court, where if the clerk, and hear me, if the clerk does not maintain proper records for juvenile court, the clerk can be held in contempt of court. The juvenile court judge, the elected judge of juvenile court, can hold the clerk in contempt if the records are not maintained in juvenile court. When you vote for Janice, you're doing her an injustice. Let her go home and heal herself. Do not make her the pawn of political pimps who are only getting paid, and the only job they got, really, is politics. Can't support it. I'm sorry. And it ain't even because they didn't bring me no money. I would not have taken advertising money. And it's bad for me to say I turned down some money. But I would not have taken advertising dollars for Janice Footlove. Because I know that she's been used as a pawn for other folk to act in her stead. So I've got to ask you, remember that when you go to the polls. And when these people come running up to you with all these ballots, even Steve Cohen has jumped his ass in the middle of politics. This is the same demon who has done nothing in the 9th Congressional District. This is the same guy who said a few years ago that he does not get involved in local politics. So when y'all hear these radio commercials with Steve Cohen's name on it, please understand, he don't give a damn about black folk in the black community. And Tawan Stout Mitchell, damn Tawan, if you had wanted to be in politics, you should have stayed in office. So y'all get together and y'all bring in a neophyte. And I'm looking at, she's running for Shelby County Commission. I'm looking at her card, and I see no record of service. You've been in all these organizations, but anyway, I'll talk about that later. I'll talk about that when the head forward comes up. Let's take a commercial break. Then I'm going to bring to you the next mayor of Shelby County, Terry Roland. We'll be back after these commercial messages. All right, let's change up the set.
I got nowhere. Terry Roland is the only one that would step out and say this isn't right.
Let's get rid of
Terry Roland.
History 54.
It's like my job came to my aid right away.
Terry loves all citizens of Shelby County.
He came out immediately.
He's about the people.
Bring the personal side back to Memphis.
And let's turn government back over to the people.
Let's see.
Since the beginning of this ministry about 2 years ago, God has tremendously blessed the Naked Truth Liberation and Empowerment Ministry. We're located at 3835 Raleigh Middleton Road. We're now offering the rental of our facilities as well. In our fellowship hall, which holds over 150 to 200 people, you can have your weddings, your baby showers, whatever your occasion happens to be. You can even rent it for your repasses. We have a full-size commercial kitchen as well. You
No,
can
I'm not
also
filming,
rent this
motherfucker.
massive gymnasium.
This is a live
that holds
TV show.
600 people by just calling Dale. Call Dale 901-435-6161. 901-435-6161.
Barry Burke, you're going to-
Have all of your gospel concerts, have all of your big meetings, all of your big affairs, your flea markets, whatever you
Come on,
want,
Terry.
you can call Dale for use of this gymnasium. We can even accommodate your smallest meeting with our various meeting rooms. And on this massive 7 acres of property, there's always plenty of parking. I invite you to join us each and every Sunday morning.
You think
at
you're logging
10
out? Good. I'm gonna
a.m.
log you out
for morning
too.
worship here at the Naked Truth Liberation and Empowerment Ministries. If you do not have transportation, call us by Friday and we'll be glad to pick you up so that you can come and experience the Naked Truth.
Edmund Ford Jr. has proven his commitment to public service by serving 3 terms as a Memphis City Councilman. As Councilman Edmund Ford Jr. co-sponsored the South Memphis Revitalization Plan, he secured $1 million in CIP funds for the expansion and widening of 3rd Street, supported and sponsored legislation along with the city that's in the process of bringing over 5,500 jobs to District 9. Sponsored $500,000 in CIP funds to restore the health loop and Head Start building.
I love you too, Don.
To the Mitchell Community Center. His inherited spirit of service has allowed this 14-year.
You should have been on time till you found out what the
system
subject was.
to raise thousands for all children high school seniors to receive free access to college scholarships. Edmund Ford Jr. has a proven record of service. Conditions are too critical to elect someone who can only make us promises. Let the work and service continue by electing Edmund Ford Jr. to the County Commission, District Number 9. District 9 doesn't need a change, but the continuation of a public servant who has already made that change. Vote May 1st, Edmund Ford Jr., County Commission, District 9. Paid for by the committee to elect Edmund Ford Jr., J. Ashley Miller, Treasurer.
Attorney J.D. Smiley Jr.
I want to be your advocate against blight and crime that have plagued our district. I will advocate for new businesses opening and existing businesses expanding in District 8 to focus on Southwood, Northwood, downtown, uptown.
How many more we got in this set?
Independence and legal education to be the advocate our district deserves. I'm asking you to elect Attorney
We
J.D.
have about a minute left, just like 2 minutes.
Okay.
The advocate we need in County Commission District 8. Vote for J.D. Smiley Jr.
The name Floyd Bonner means a legacy of experience and leadership in Shelby County. Currently serving the citizens of Memphis and Shelby County,
Mr. Brown, you'll get your answers gone. For those of you on social media, this show is political tonight. If you want to go, get the hell off the page. Anyone that brings up any content from last night's show, you're automatically blocked. We're not talking about Andrea on tonight. All right.
Hey, Terry, test your microphone.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Are you comfortable leaning in like that?
Huh?
Bring it in.
Yeah,
Yeah, there we go.
thank you.
All right.
Delivered, you thought, you must think I was playing. So you gone. JJ Sloan. Well, what I got left?
This the last one.
Huh?
Last one.
All right.
Last one right here.
What is that? Hey, make sure, Dale, you give her the list of everything that needs to be played. Well, don't you think that'd be nice? I didn't print it out. Well, make sure everything is played. Hey, you make sure, the grill is played. You got it in there, the new one? Okay.
30 seconds.
I don't have a goddamn restraining order. Bitch, please, get your ass out of here.
20 seconds.
Fuck, I might get a restraining order from another city. Dumb motherfucker. He ain't in Memphis.
10 seconds.
Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2.
I thank you so very much as we continue on with the Thaddeus Matthews program. In the second hour, my good friend Ed Ford Jr. is in the house. He's already here. Terry Roland.
Hey, Thaddeus.
Terry Roland and I have been friends now for a number of years.
Absolutely.
Terry, you're running for the county mayor. First of all, who is Terry Roland?
Well, I like to say that I'm the people's advocate. You know, when I'm a commissioner, I've served for 8 years. You know, I ran against old Fee, and we were together then. You know, that's when all the bad election happened. But I worked real hard, got on the county commission, served a term as chairman pro tem and then chairman. And I work every day. It's supposed to be a part-time job, and I go in every morning about 7:30. Get home about 5:30 in the evening, and for $29,000, I'm definitely not doing it for the money. I'm doing it because I love the people things.
So let's look at, and I think that the audience needs to understand the difference in the functions of the city mayor versus the functions of the county mayor.
Right.
Explain the difference.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because that probably shows why I'm the better choice for the county mayor's race. See, the way the county government's made up, we have a weak mayor, strong legislative form of government. That means the mayor can't do anything unless he gets 7 votes from the county commission. So it's really important for the mayor to have a good relationship with the county commission. This commission I sit on now, we're absolutely a bunch of great folks. We've done a lot of good work. Let me bring up one thing. One of my competitors says he has cut the debt. Let me make the record clear. The trustee, the juvenile court clerk, nobody has a vote but a majority of the county commissioners.
So, and I guess you're talking about Lenore.
Right.
Has said what now?
He's got an ad out saying that he cut the county debt. That is completely false. He had nothing to do with cutting the county's debt. Our debt was about $1.2 billion when we got there. It's down around $750 to $800,000, so we got it just about cut in half. But for him to make a statement that he has cut the budget, I don't like to use the L word, but he's telling the field, absolutely.
No, he's telling a damn lie. I'll say it for you. Does his office even have the power?
Look, the state statute says that the trustee takes your tax money, okay? And if you don't pay your taxes, he takes your property. Other than that, he can invest the money that he takes in into short-term CDs and stuff until we need it to spend the county. That's all he can do, period. Nothing else can he do.
Because the budget of the county is in the hands, technically, well, not technically, but in the hands of the county commission.
The county commission is the county as far as, they are that's where the buck stops, the county commission. Now, for him to make a false statement like that is just, I guess he didn't think anybody would catch it, but that's wrong to be telling people that he's cut the debt.
Now, let's bring something to the front. There are those who want to say that you're white, and you're about as white as they can get. But that this county is majority black.
Right.
Terry Roland, as a person who wants to be the county mayor, what benefit is it for black folk to vote for you? What have you done for black folk? What are you going to do for black folk if you are elected?
Let me start off by saying, that is to the audience that don't know me. I spent my first few years of life in a place called Wilkinsville, Tennessee. I was the only white kid there. When I was growing up, I know people's heard this old saying that we didn't see color. Well, we didn't. We was all poor. You know, the only color we saw, Thaddeus, was green, and we didn't have none of it.
Okay.
So fast forward, you know, my upbringing, you know, I was around black folks all the time. But let me talk about my career and what I've done. You know, they hit me at the end, not at the NAACP forum, but the first forum we went to at the church. They hit me with a question about Black Lives Matter, and I answered it wrong. You know, I answered it like most people would, that all lives matter, right? But I was quickly corrected. But I got to thinking, and this goes into what I do on a daily basis. And I gave them a better answer at the NAACP forum. I told them, I said, folks, I understand the premise that Black Lives Matter came about due to the injustice to young black folks by the police, or black folks, period, by the police. I said, but let me take this a little bit further. If black lives didn't matter to Terry Roland, it wouldn't have been my vote that put the disparity study out. If black lives didn't matter to Terry Roland, it wouldn't have been me as chairman that brought that disparity study in and implemented the MWBE program.
And tell them what that is.
That's when you got a town or a city the size of Memphis, Tennessee, in Shelby County, and the minorities make up about 68%, right? And they're only getting 5% of the work. That's criminal. There's something that has got to be changed, okay? And this is going to give people more of a chance. It's about giving people a hand up and not a hand out.
So your vote did what?
My vote actually put the disparity study out, which showed the numbers, the correct numbers that we're facing. And me as chairman brought that disparity study in and started implementing the MWBE program so we could correct all this.
Okay.
And then I also told him, I said, look, if black lives didn't matter to Terry Roland, I wouldn't have named that courthouse after the Army base.
Okay.
Let me tell you,
And there were white folk, and there were white judges
absolutely.
that did not want the courthouse named after the late Judge Dillon Bailey.
Oh, I got calls, but you know, that is, you know, this goes back to faith, you know? And you've heard me say this 1,000 times, you know, I start every day on my knees, and I end every day on my knees, and as long as I please God, that is, it don't matter who I displease, you know? And if people have a problem with, some of the things that I do, you know, they can call me, but you know, to criticize me for something like that, let me go back. Commissioner Bailey is a dear friend of mine. Let's face it, he's probably one of the longest serving commissioners that there's ever been. He was a good friend with my mentor, Mr. Charlie Perkins, Mr. Charlie Baker, who was a mentor of mine. Me and Commissioner Bailey, we don't see eye to eye, but we love each other. You know, you can be on opposite sides of the table and still agree to disagree, you know? But Commissioner Bailey had lost his mother and his brother in a short span. And I was really, and they had floated the idea, excuse me, of naming the courthouse after the Army Bailey. But I took the initiative. I didn't wait around to see if it was gonna happen. See, that's what I do on a daily basis. See, that is every day I go in. I take about 95% of the calls that come in on a daily basis. I don't care whether they're in Boxtown or South Memphis or Collierville or Germantown, Millington. I take those calls. I don't ever ask what color they are. I don't ever ask what party they are, you know? That's how I get my blessing, Thaddeus.
So let me ask you this, Terry. When we live in a town like Memphis where you've got blacks who basically vote Democrat and whites that basically vote Republican,
Right.
how are you as the county mayor going to bring, well, not even bring, but be able to cross party lines and get the reactions that you need from the commissioners? Because as the county mayor, the commission is still the body that's gonna have to say okay to whatever it is that you do. The county mayor does not have the sole contracting power that the city mayor has.
Right.
How is Terry Roland going to be able, and do you have a history of crossing political lines to make things work?
Absolutely, Thaddeus. Let me go back, just this last year's budget. It had broken down. We wanted to give the employees a raise. They hadn't had a decent raise in probably 8 years. The mayor fought us on that, and look, it's very important for us to go down on our property taxes. Now, this is something I want everybody to understand, that property taxes hurt poor people more than they do rich people. The poor people can afford to pay the property taxes.
And if you live in the city of Memphis, you're paying city taxes and county taxes.
Well, if you live in any municipality, you're paying two taxes. Any municipality. Actually, Lakeland, you know, Mr. Never voted for a tax increase, White Bunker.
Okay.
He's taking Lakeland from no taxes to the second highest tax city in the county.
Okay.
Can you believe that?
Okay.
But anyway, going down on property tax is we've got to give people an incentive to stay here. People are leaving in droves. And we'll get into how we can recoup some of that money. But let me say this on the budget. We wanted to give a tax decrease. We came down from 437, which is our certified rate, because of the reappraisal year. We came down to 411. 413. And I was lucky enough to beat the mayor and get another 2 cents to give to the people, give back to the people. Now think about this, Thaddeus. 2-cent tax decrease, 3% raise for the employees, and I got 12 out of 13 votes over that budget.
Okay. So, in your capacity as the county mayor, will you have a workable relationship, or will you seek a workable relationship with the county commission.
I definitely will, and let me tell you, coming from the body, I think that's what gives me the edge, in this race, coming from the body. I've been there, and you know, the people are talking about what they're gonna do, I get to talk about what we've done. I've got relationships with, let me tell you, probably the black commissioners and I probably have the closest relationship. Now, let me tell you how real close we are. We were faced, of course, when the governor wouldn't expand Medicare, we were faced with losing $78 million out of Regional 1. The only other way we have a funded Regional 1 is to put it on your property taxes. We can't afford to go up on property taxes anymore. We got to start going the other way. I said, well, what are we going to do? Well, I actually got 6 more commissioners and Ed Ford Jr., and we went to Washington. And we were lucky enough to get Steve Cohen, Fincher, Alexander, and Corker, and all their chiefs of staff in the same room. You know how hard that is? That's tough. But we got in there, and I told them, I said, here's the deal. If that Regional 1 fails, it's going to be on all y'all. It serves a 200-mile radius. We were fortunate enough, when we got back on that airplane, we had a $63 million a year for 10-year deal to keep the Regional 1 open. So I think that shows what kind of work we can do with people.
One of the things that has happened since you've been on the commission, as chairman, the Shelby County school system received the largest increase in funding without a tax increase.
Right.
The education of our children in this community, all of our children, is important. As county mayor, when you fight for the funding, and let's understand, there's nothing that you can do about the day-to-day operation of the school. Okay, there's nothing. The state charter only allows the city and the county to finance our education.
You can vote your budget up or down.
Up or down. Will you, as mayor, maintain in your budget, your yearly budget that has to go before the county commission, will you continue to make sure that education is funded up and not down?
Absolutely. Well, you know, there's a state law that says you can't go backwards. We got
Right.
maintenance of effort, so there's not going to be. But here's what I really, the role that I'm going to try to play in this, okay? See, we collect the property taxes and send them to Nashville. Years ago, they passed a law that says they're going to fully fund basic education, right? Well, when they send the money back, we only get 60% of the money that we set up there.
Okay.
That's wrong. Okay, the formula's messed up, and what we're actually doing, we're funding some of these other rural counties, and that's wrong, because it's shortchanging the kids here in Shelby County. So what I want to do is I want to go to Nashville. You know, I've been over the legislative agenda for the last 8 years, and I want to get the law changed to where we get a 100% of our funding, because here's what's happening, and it's also causing our property taxes to go up. Because they're only sending 60% in, we're having to re-subsidize on the back of the taxpayer to cover that 40%. And that's wrong. The people are getting double taxed. It's wrong. Now, let me tell you, there needs to be oversight of that school. And this is where I think I'm a little bit different than a lot of folks. I want to go and get the law changed to where we can have some line item on their budget. Let me tell you why. Because we have done a lot of studying. The dollars aren't getting down to the teachers and the kids. Okay?
So where is the dollars going? When we look at the education.
Bureaucracy, look at how many appointed positions they got.
Okay.
I mean, where in the world, other than Memphis, Tennessee, would you have a failing school system and the superintendent get a $15,000 a year raise? That's wrong.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. That's the kind of stuff that we've got to put our foot down and this is not a white thing or a black thing. It's a right and wrong thing. We need to hold the schools more accountable. And just having the ability to vote their budget up or down, that's not oversight. That's not being able to watch the dollars and make sure they get down to the kids and the teachers. You know, I'm gonna be honest with you, Thaddeus, I wasn't for the surrender of the charter.
Okay.
Let me tell you why. And I'm gonna tell you, it's just like everything else that goes on in Shelby County. What they do is they create an issue, get people fighting, and while our folks are fighting each other, they're over here stealing us blind.
Okay.
Now, that's a fact. What that surrender of that charter was really about was they had raked up a $1.4 billion OPEB debt, other post-employment benefit, okay? The federal government, Gatsby, a few years ago said you had to start showing that on your ledger as a liability. Well, Memphis City Schools for years, and probably Shelby County too, I'm not gonna let them off the hook. I'm not gonna let them off the hook. But both of them were paying as they went, you know, and I guess that might be okay, but when the federal government says you gotta start showing that as a liability, everybody kind of freaked out.
Okay.
Well, they wanted to put that $1.4 billion over everybody in Shelby County. Well, they said, well, we're gonna surrender the charter. Well, Mr. Pickler and Martavius, they got into a fight and, pretty much started the ruckus, but the deal was actually to put that debt over everybody in Shelby County. Well, they surrendered the charter, but they, you know, I told them, you remember when they took all the shots at me, you know, talking about I didn't care about kids? I told them, I said, first of all, nobody gonna get rich but the lawyers. $10 million later, Baker Donaldson, does that surprise you? Got $10 million in this debacle. I told him, I said, there's gonna be a lot of folks that lose their job. Over 3,000 people lost their job. And at the end of the day, I told him, I said, the poor kids are gonna be left out. Where are we at, Thaddeus? That's exactly where we're at. It was never about the children. Never. It's about greed and money.
So and you're very vocal, Terry. You know, they get you and I. They say, well, hell, we'll say anything. But Terry, you've been vocal on a lot of issues.
Right.
You've talked about things that politicians don't normally want to talk about. They keep them in the backroom meetings.
Right.
Can we expect Terry Roland, the mayor of Shelby County, to be transparent with the community?
Absolutely.
And let the people know exactly what's going on?
Absolutely, Thaddeus. I mean, transparency is something that I live by, you know. At the end of the day, I got to go home and I got to look at myself in the mirror, you know.
When it comes to jobs in Shelby County, what can you, as the county mayor, or what will you do? What is your projected agenda to bring more industry and more jobs into the county of Shelby and in areas that is going to benefit the majority as well as the minority of citizens in this county?
Well, here's one thing that we can do. First of all, we got to stop selling out to all these pilots. Now, you have some good pilots when you talk about FedEx, International Paper, Service Master, AutoZone, somebody that brings in a lot of jobs. But if you look at these cities that are moving forward, like Nashville, 110 people a day are moving to Nashville. They're building on every square inch. What they're actually doing, they're using what we call a TIF, tax incremental financing. Let me explain to you how that works and how it's going to help save Memphis and Shelby County, especially the urban areas. My whole life, I've been hearing people talk about urban renewal. And what I'm talking about is real urban renewal and not regentrification, okay? It's bringing these neighborhoods back. Let me use, for instance, in the urban areas, they're food deserts. There's no grocery stores. So we'll take a TIF, all right? Say you got a blighted shopping center out there that's just sitting there and it's not on the tax roll. You give a developer a TIF. He goes in there and he tears it down and he starts paying the city and county taxes of what that property is with nothing on it for 10 years. But he's got to develop it. He gets his own funding to do the building. He builds a grocery store there. The whole time he's building that grocery store, Thaddeus, what's he doing? He's creating jobs. When he gets that grocery store built, he's got something that's gonna employ people, but he's got something else. He's got something that's gonna bring in sales tax, and for every dollar of sales tax that we bring in, that's a dollar we can go down on the property tax, give people incentive to stay here, right? Now, let me finish. When he gets that grocery store built, all these blighted properties around that, in that neighborhood, people are gonna wanna start building them again. That's exactly what's happening in Nashville right now. Now, how it would help the minorities? It works the same way. If you use a minority developer and a minority contractor, automatically, overnight, you bring your disparity numbers up.
So what will you do though, Terry, to make sure that black vendors get their fair share of county business?
I'm already doing that. That's what this disparity study and this MWBE program is all about.
Okay, so you've already implemented that particular program?
Absolutely.
So,
And we brought Shep Woodward in to monitor.
Okay.
And we got Ricky Wilkins, as an attorney to make sure that we don't make the mistakes that we made in the past.
What's the biggest difference, Terry, in you and your opponents?
The biggest difference between me and my opponents, I guess, is we've got 8 years of doing the job. As chairman of the county commission, we actually are equal to the county mayor. The chairman is equal to the county mayor. Before we had a county mayor, we had before we had a county mayor and a county commission, we had what they call a quarterly court.
Right.
All right, and whoever was chosen chairman that year was the mayor of the county.
Okay.
Until we changed the charters and went to the commission and mayor form of government. But you gotta have, balances and oversight, and I think it's set up right, but there's a lot of things that need to change. For instance, the county mayor and us and the county commission have had a strained relationship, and it's because he didn't come down and ever work with us, Thaddeus. The only time Mayor Luttrell came down was to either thought he was gonna punish us, or to fuss at us, and that didn't get him anywhere. He's vetoed us 8 times, and guess what? We've overrode his veto 8 times. And it's about relationships, and it's about working with people. If you ask any, especially the black commissioners, who would they want in their foxhole? I guarantee you they're gonna tell you Terry Roland. Because we've got a way of working with people. We don't back up from anything. You will hear a funny story. You gotta be creative, you know what I mean? Well, Joy Tulliatis, who's one of the candidates, she was on the UPPC committee that's made up of elected officials and employees. Was she led the effort to try to get us to change our policy to transgender bathrooms, right? And she worked with Steve Mulroy. Well, Steve Mulroy was the one that brought the resolution forward, right? I said, I gotta beat this. I said, how are we gonna do this? So I had to be creative. So I found out that Steve was a good Catholic.
He was a what?
He was a good Catholic.
Okay.
I found out what parish he went to.
Okay.
I found out what priest who his priest was, right? I didn't bust him out, but what I did do, Thaddeus, I invited his priest to come down and give the prayer that day. And guess what? Steve couldn't even vote for his own.
Okay.
See, you gotta be smart. You gotta be smart on your feet, you know?
Okay. You're also running against a former commissioner. What makes you a better candidate than Sidney Chisholm?
Well, let me tell you, Sidney and I have had our ups and downs. And, when I first got elected, I thought Sidney hung the moon a little bit, because I was green and he took me under his wing. But when I found out a few things, the way he was funding some of that money through to his wife's daycare, it was just...
he was doing what now?
He was funneling grant money to his wife's daycare.
No, not Sidney Chisholm. He was taking grant money from the county?
Yes, his wife was.
his wife, well,
Yeah.
okay, his wife, Sidney Chisholm's wife was taking money that were grants that he had voted on.
Yes. He didn't recuse himself, he voted on it.
That's a little crooked, ain't it?
Well, let me tell you, I brought ethics charges against him, thought we had him dead to rights. Had, 2 out of the 3, judges, Judge Allen, he wouldn't wait. Well, that's one thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna change this ethics, deal around to put some people that really know what's going on the ethics group, you know? But Judge Allen, he wouldn't sleep half part of the time, you know? And then, Judge Southern and the lady judge, they actually found Sidney guilty.
Okay.
We went back to find out what was gonna happen, and come to find out that, Sheriff Oldham had talked to, Judge Southern, and he changed his ruling.
Okay.
And then the next thing I know, Sidney's going to work for the sheriff's department.
Yes. Is he still there?
Yeah.
We're going to have to get him fired in a few more days. Okay. But, I mean, that was very unethical that here Sidney Chisholm was voting for grants, and the grants was going to technically his business.
Right.
What about Lee Harris?
Let me tell you about Lee. Lee and I, we're friends, you know, but he's going around talking about helping poor people. Well, if you're gonna help poor people, why did you support the charter and put 3,000 people out of a job?
Mm-hmm.
And when he was a city councilman, he voted to cut the salaries and benefits of the employees.
Mm-hmm.
It don't look to me like he's helping poor people, it looks to me like he's creating poor people.
Okay, okay.
So that's the problem I have with Lee.
So what, Terry, can the citizens, black, white, indifferent, what can the citizens of Shelby County expect from a 4-year term of Terry Roland as the county mayor?
Well, first of all, I'm not a bought and paid for politician. I don't belong to anybody but the people of Shelby County. Now, let me tell you, Thaddeus, you know how it works. You've been fighting it all these years too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, on both sides. And some of these, what's the word I want to use? Corporate Memphis, let's just say corporate Memphis. They play both sides of the field, whether it's Democrat or Republican. The same people behind the curtain, you know. Say, for instance, they want to do something, so they'll create an issue and get the community fighting over a certain issue, and the next thing you know, they're stealing us blind, okay? And what you can expect is for me to step out there and say, enough's enough. We're not gonna play this game anymore. The people want to know real time what's going on in county government.
You were instrumental in blocking any of the county funds going to Planned Parenthood.
Absolutely. You know why? You ever heard of Margaret Sanger?
Oh yeah, the Nigger Project.
Yep.
That's what it was called.
You know, my faith, every decision that I make, that is, my faith comes into, making that decision. I don't just go off the top of my head and do something. But I knew a lot about Planned Parenthood, and I knew a lot about Margaret Sanger and why she started Planned Parenthood. And, she started Planned Parenthood to get rid of black children.
Sure.
And, you know, I'm gonna tell you, the white Democrats, they don't wanna, they know that, but they don't wanna accept that. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, I've gotta do what pleases God. And I'm not for killing anybody, any children or any, you know what I'm saying? There's more kids killed by, Planned Parenthood than any of this gun violence going on. The gun violence is bad, don't get me wrong. You know, and I asked him, I said, you know, you're marching against gun violence, I give you that. But when you get through marching against that gun violence, why don't you march against Planned Parenthood? More kids are killed on a daily basis by Planned Parenthood and more black kids, not just more kids, but more black kids are killed by Planned Parenthood than they are guns.
When we look at the violence in Memphis and Shelby County, and as the elected mayor, you have an elected sheriff, you've got the city of Memphis mayor, what is it that you can actually, in your capacity as county mayor, actually do about crime and violence in the county?
What we need to do is we need to fund the police. We need to not cut their salaries. We need to not cut their benefits. We need to let them do what they do. Now, is there some bad apples? Yes. We need to rid ourselves of those bad apples. But let me tell you, it all starts at home, and what the problem, the deep-rooted problem is, it's a breakdown of the family. You know, you got a lot of kids out there now, and my heart really goes out because I've been doing a lot of studying and a lot of going out and meeting people, you know, even before I was running for mayor, and their poverty is pitiful. It's terrible here in Shelby County.
But what can you do about it, man?
The first thing I can do is advocate and change that edge board to where it's proactive rather than reactive, and talk about TIFs, and talk about rebuilding these neighborhoods and giving people a hand up, not a hand out, by empowering people. The best thing you can do is give the person a job. We've got 15,000 jobs right now in Shelby County that makes at least $50,000 that's available, but we can't find anybody that can count or pass a drug test. Now that's a huge
problem now. There are these openings, you got 15,000 openings?
Right.
In what, county government or just
No,
jobs?
just jobs all over Shelby County.
Okay, there are 15,000 jobs open and available.
Right.
But we can't find folks that can pass a drug test?
Absolutely. I got a guy that's in construction. He says, and most of his Hispanics have been sent back, right? He said, I could take 100, okay? I could take 100 people right now if you could give me, if they could pass a drug test and if they could count to 100, you know, do basic math.
So is it really that bad, Jerry? Is the, and I guess when we said something, you can't count to 100, we got to start talking about the educational system.
That's right.
So what do you do? What do you do? What can you create that is going to change that?
Well, first of all, in the education part, if we get the oversight like I was telling you about, that will change the culture. You know what I call it in Shelby County?
What?
I call it a culture of corruption.
Okay.
It's been going on so long, they don't think it's wrong anymore. Just like a lot of these appointments, people appointing their, let me tell you, both of the people that's running for county mayor against me on the Republican side, David Lenore has hired Lane Wiseman, former chairman of the Republican Party, paying him $50,000 a year, okay, full benefits, full insurance for his family, and he never comes to work. Never been to work. Joy Tubialis, Martin Zuma, okay, her attorney. He's been paid $95,000 a year for the last 7.5 years, and he's at his law office every day in South Haven, Mississippi, never comes to work. How would you like to have a side job where you make $95,000?
I love that.
I mean, that's what I call a culture of corruption. You know, when some of the other mayors...
Let me take a quick commercial break. Then we're gonna come back and then we're gonna wind it up with Terry Roland. Dale, come check on, are we still functioning on the YouTube?
On YouTube, yeah.
All right, come in, hit this thing here where it says okay.
It's a YouTube or Facebook?
Facebook. No, which one is this on?
That's YouTube right there.
Okay, that's Facebook. Hit okay on that. Those of you on Instagram, y'all finna time out. See, this ain't a message show tonight, so this is education, so y'all might not like this.
Anything, you know, that we haven't done?
Not that I know of, I think we pretty much. You see, it's like, my team,
What team is that?
Chicago.
Roland Middleton Road. We're now offering the rental of our facilities as well. In our fellowship hall, which holds over 150 to 200 people, you can have your weddings, your baby showers, whatever your occasion happens to be. You can even rent it for your repasses. We have a pool-size commercial kitchen as well. You can also rent this massive gymnasium that holds over 600 people by just calling Dale. Call Dale 901-435-6161. 901-435-6161.
I can't hear you back there.
Have all of your gospel concerts, have
Oh,
all of
okay.
your big meetings, all of your big affairs, your flea markets, whatever you want, you can call Dale.
Tell her we'll do Stacy in between when I bring Terry off to bring Ed up.
Meeting rooms. And on this massive 7 acres of property, there's always plenty of parking. I invite you to join us each and every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. for our morning worship here at the Naked Truth Liberation and Empowerment Ministries. If you do not have transportation, call us by Friday and we'll be glad to pick you up so that you can come and experience the naked truth.
Mikhail Lowry has been very active in the Memphis community as chairman of the Memphis Housing Authority Board and a member of the Mississippi Renaissance Christian Church.
I'm Mikhail Lowry, and I'm running for Shelby County Commission District 8 to help improve the quality of life for all of our citizens in North and South Memphis, Fraser, Central Garden, and downtown area. We need stronger neighborhoods, better schools, and less crime. So I'm asking you for support and your vote. Thanks.
Edmund Ford Jr. has proven his commitment.
Bring me back after this.
By serving 3 terms as a Memphis City Councilman. As Councilman, Edmund Ford Jr. co-sponsored the South Memphis Revitalization Plan. He secured $1 million in CIP funds for the expansion and widening of 3rd Street. Supported and sponsored legislation along the city that's in the process of bringing over 5,500 jobs to District 9. Sponsored $500,000 in CIP funds to restore the health loop and Head Start buildings adjacent to the Mitchell Community Center. His inherited spirit of service has allowed this 14-year educator in our school system to raise thousands for all Shelby County high school seniors to receive free access to college scholarships. Edmund Ford Jr. has a proven record of service. Conditions are too critical to elect someone who can only make promises. Let the work and service continue by electing Edmund Ford Jr. to the County Commission, District Number 9. District 9.
As we're winding this first hour down with my guest, Terry Roland. Terry, many of my viewers will, because in the primary,
Right.
you have to declare whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. what do you tell Democrats tonight that are going to probably declare their party affiliation on May 1st or while we're doing the early voting? What do you tell those that support you?
Well, here's what I say. If you want good, fair, honest government, and you want a fair shake as a constituent, as a person in Shelby County, give me a shot. Give me a chance. They said that we wouldn't be successful, and we've been really successful for the last 8 years. We're like I said, we're not bought and paid for. And with that means that we work for the people.
So in a minute, Terry, tell the people of Shelby County right now, look into that camera right there, and tell them why you're better off with Terry Roland versus anybody else, whether you're Republican or Democrat, that's running for county mayor.
Well, I think the big thing is that I'm effective. I'm an effective, passionate leader. I take my job seriously. As you know, if you call me, I'll react. I don't tell you I'm gonna call you back. I make sure it happens right then. I know it's important to the people of Shelby County. Look, we gotta go into a different direction. We gotta get rid of this crime. We gotta go down on our property taxes. We gotta give people an incentive to stay here and to work here. And with me, I think you'll get the best shot at that.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm urging you, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, to vote for Terry Roland. I endorse him, I support him, he's my friend, he's my personal friend, him and his wife, Christy. I'm urging you to vote for him because people all over this city, we've got issues, we've got problems, and we need someone in office that's not looking for a job. He owns several businesses. He can be well off working at his own businesses all day long versus out here fighting for the people of Shelby County. Terry Roland is someone that I can call that we can get results. He's been giving me results as a county commissioner. I'm sure, I believe wholeheartedly that the very same call, he ain't gonna change his number. I'll still be able to call him on his cell phone and say, look, the people in this area need some help, or this person needs some help, or we need some jobs, we need to do something. You need to come out and talk to the people. We need someone that is going to respond to the needs of the people. I urge you to go out and give Terry Roland your vote. Terry, thank you for taking out your schedule.
Thank you, Thaddeus.
To be here. And again, I'm urging you, early voting is going on right now through the 26th. Go out and give Terry Roland your vote. You got Stacey Marino back there ready? All right. When we come back, we're going to have City Councilman Edmund Ford Jr., who is turned out and is now running for the Shelby County Commission, representing the same area that he represented as the city councilman. We'll be telling you why he's the better candidate than anybody else that's in this race after we listen to Stacey Marino. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, my friend.
Okay, buddy?
Yes, sir.
I love you.
Love you too, my friend.
And let me tell you something, I'm endorsing that gentleman right there. He was with me when we got the $63 million deal.
Okay. Come on, Junior.
You remember that, brother?
And he is the one, the seventh vote that got the disparity study. Steve Mulroy voted against.
Yeah, Steve Mulroy voted against.
Against the disparity?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. We'll get with that. Thank you. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
If you need me, Thad, call me.
Okay, I'll do that.
Bye-bye.
What's going on with your Facebook?
I'm endorsing because it's election time. What else? Damn. What happened?
Oh, no.
It's been trying to reconnect. Where's that thing at?
It's right here.
But it's been twirling like that. Huh? What's going on, Drew?
I've been proposed all day, since day one.
You took off?
No, well, today, to announce 500 extra jobs I did.
Okay.
And I know when I go back, they're gonna cut the pay. I still haven't got that worked out. It's not like when I go to city council and everything. I do work, but as an issue I'm trying to resolve. No, today was good. We had 500 jobs for our youth, $12 an hour. Announced, and I was part of it. The mayor, some of them Williams, they did excellent job. It was all day at the University of Memphis. I've been working. But I do that when school's out, I go to the polls every day.
10 seconds.
Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2.
And welcome back to the Thaddeus Matthews Show. My guest now is a young man I've known most of his life, Edmund Ford Jr. Junior, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me back now.
As a city councilman, you've been on the city council now for
11.
8, is it 11?
Yeah, this is third term.
Okay,
Third term.
okay. What did you get done today as a city councilman?
Well, I'll tell you what, today, there was a big announcement. The mayor and I, as well as a public-private partnership with the Office of Youth Services, as well as Sonoma Wings, we announced a few hundred more jobs for our youth. As you know, there already exists the Summer Youth Program. And we have about 1,250 jobs in that Summer Youth Program. Well, a couple of months ago, I asked my colleagues to, and I've encouraged them to look at increasing that pool from 1,250 to 2,000. And I said, let's do it over a 3-year period. But I also did this. In the resolution that I got passed unanimously, I asked for the private sector to come to the table. Because out of all those jobs, at 1,250, the city was actually funding all of those jobs. So you take 1,250 jobs and multiply that by a $2,000 salary, we were coming out $2.5 million in our operating budget. So many of my colleagues said that, why don't we have some of the private sector come in and endorse a few of the jobs, whether it's 10 jobs here or 20 jobs here, or even the small businesses, 5 jobs here. Well, today, we have the capacity of up to 500 more jobs with Sonoma Wings paying about $12 an hour for those who were also in that pool of 5,000.
So what ages?
17.
Okay. Let me ask you this.
Yes.
Junior, why are you running for the county commissioner? And let me preface that.
Sure.
You're a fool.
Okay.
Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about that. You're a fool. And some would say that they're tired of fools. They want a Chevrolet now. One of these candidates I would call a Honda, but they're tired of Fords. So why are you running, and what do you bring to the table that the other candidates in the race don't bring to the table?
All right, well, it's interesting you asked me that first part, because I've been at the polls every single day, with the exception of maybe a couple, because I was actually working on bringing some money back to the city. And I'll just put it this way, I get my twos and fews of people that have that attitude, but I get the 5, 6, and 7 out of 10 that say that they want me to continue the service that I'm doing right now. As a matter of fact, when many of the constituents that I represent found out that there were term limits, a lot of them did not know, and they gave me 2 questions. They said, well, could you sit out and come back, or is there something else that you can do because of the service that you're doing? And I said, well, I thought about running for county commission. They said, yes, we would definitely support you in doing that, because they see the things that I'm doing, the things that I'm very proud of, that I've actually been able to bring to the district. I talked about today about 500 more jobs coming in, but I can also be proud to say that there have been several places in District 6, and District 9 is part of District 6, if you look at most of that area. I can point to places in Westwood, I can point to places in West Junction, Walker Homes, I can point to places in Soulsville that we've done a lot of work.
So what are some of your accomplishments in the last 11 years on the Memphis City Council that you will be transferring your influence and your position and your knowledge to in Commission District number 9?
Okay, let me tell you what I'm already working with county commissioners on right now to answer your question. There was an event at the Botanic Gardens yesterday, and I know you know Stevie Moore with FFUing. We're going to be working collaboratively to work on initiatives to stop the killing and stop the crime. Now, it's going to take a little bit more than just saying that. We have to actually do some action. And 2 things that I know that I've definitely been doing over the last 11 years is promoting education and promoting job creation. Now, you and I know the last time I was here, we both agreed that not everybody's looking for a job and not everybody's going to work. But everybody that has that desire and will to work, I want to help them get the skill set necessary, and I want to help them get the tools that they need in order to get the jobs that Mr. Roland was talking about before he left out. He said there's 15,000 jobs. He's absolutely correct. The average salary is about $23.50 per hour. And next month, when I bring the jobs plan together, I've been working with 2-year institutions, 4-year institutions, Second Chance, and other entities to where we're going to create a comprehensive jobs plan to where anybody that has the desire and will to work in the city of Memphis, we can get them to work. Secondly, you probably know what a sky cop camera is. One thing that I want to bring to the table is this, and I actually articulated this to not just to the FFUN group, but some of the county commissioners. Every year, the city council gets 10 sky cop cameras. Now, the area that I represent is mostly south of Poplar and west of Elvis Presley. If you put 10 cameras and you look at the data and you pinpoint exactly where those cameras need to go, you probably won't be able to see them because of how large that district is. But I want somebody to drive down Yates Road if they get a chance. If they take Walnut Grove and they make a right, or if they go on Poplar Avenue and make a left, I want them to count the number of sky cop cameras they see just on that street. I took a video on it, and when I have my community meeting on Monday, I'm going to show it to my constituents. And they're probably going to ask me, why am I doing it? But I'll tell you why. When you drive down and you pass Memorial Park, look on the right side. Almost every street has a sky cop camera. Let me tell you what's happening. You have neighborhoods that are writing the check, and they are purchasing sky cop cameras. In fact, when we have our city council meetings every other 2 weeks, you have in one of the committees same night minute items where particular neighborhoods are purchasing those cameras. Now, I represent most of 3109 and 3116. Those individuals, those neighborhood associations may not be able to just write that $10,000 check and buy a great camera, or $25,000 check to buy 3 cameras. But with the allocation that a county commissioner gets, I want the significant portion of that allocation to go to sky cop cameras. I want to work with those neighborhoods. I know that some of the neighborhoods apply for the city grants. Some of them also have fundraising that they do internally. But if we can raise that money together and start putting sky cop cameras in 3109 and 3116, and if I can encourage my other colleagues to do the same thing, we can start looking at that issue called crime. But we can also walk and chew gum at the same time and work on getting people who have a desire and will to work And if you have both of those things together, you're gonna tackle that big issue called poverty. That's what I'm working on right now.
So that's what you're working on as a council member
With commissioners
with,
right now.
with commissioners right now.
Yes.
Junior, when you are elected to the county commission, poverty in your areas, Boxtown, Coral Lake, Diamond Estates, Lionsgate, Whitehaven, South Memphis, Whitehaven, Walker Homes, portions of Riverside, there's poverty there, and the lack of real economic development. What is your agenda? What is your plan to, first of all, take away the blight of poverty and to economically empower those particular constituents in that area?
Let me give you an example I'm working on right now. As you know, two of the Krogers closed in Orange Mound as well as on South 3rd. A lot of people might not know this, and we give some information now since I'm on your show. There will be a third Kroger up north that will be closing as well.
Which one is that?
I want to say Range Line. I'm not too far from there.
Not up at Fraser.
There's another one that's going to be closing.
Okay.
And it's getting to the point to where, just like what you've mentioned, what Mr. Roland mentioned, it's going to get to a point where people, we're taxpayers who live in those areas, want to have the same thing that other people have in respective areas as well. But it's unfortunate that you have one grocery chain that has cornered the market and monopolized to where they're making these particular decisions that affect people in the area. So to go back and answer your question as far as economic development, I'm working with groups, nonprofit and otherwise, to bring not only those grocery stores back, but I want economic development to be there as well. One item that did come up, Carnes Park, for example, in Whitehaven, is getting a $5.4 million facelift, and that's a wonderful thing to have. One other thing that I know that I have pride in taking advantage of as far as resources, if you go back and look at another park, let's look at Chandler Park, for example. It's near Cummins Elementary, it's near Lamorne College, and there's a great neighborhood called Soulsby.
Okay.
This neighborhood came to me 2 Februaries ago. This lady came to my community meeting and had a Save Chandler Park poster. I told her that we were gonna make this happen. We had meetings at City Hall, where it was the Grizzlies Foundation, some other nonprofits in the neighborhood, and we also had meetings in the neighborhood to where we said that not only do we want to make sure that we renovate the park, there were some blighted properties that were adjacent to the park where our idea was to make those pocket parks. So if anybody that lived close, whether you were renting or whether you lived in a house or you lived near the school, you could come enjoy those pocket parks that used to be blighted properties. And let me tell you how I want all of this to be embedded to where you can stay in your community, you can love your community, and you can get access to what you need in your community. The elementary school received something that's very similar to a STEM lab. And for those that don't know what STEM is, that's your science, technology, your engineering, and your math. Those elementary school students are learning all of those things at a young age. So those may be the future engineers, mathematicians, and things of that nature. You got your middle school there, you got 2 high schools there, you got Lamorne College there. So what we did last year is we made sure that not only did the elementary school have something, we wanted to make sure that the entire community had something to where they did not have to go necessarily outside that community to get what they needed. It was a great partnership, and I appreciate the Grizzlies being there, and I appreciate commissioners, and I appreciate Cummins Elementary and the entire Soulsville neighborhood in making that happen.
So with the other candidates that are in this race, okay, the other candidates that are in the race,
Okay.
I'm looking at some of their cards. They bring no experience to the table as far as legislative power. They're all newcomers who want a position. what makes you, because they probably think that they're great individuals and they should be in the office as well. What makes you the better candidate versus a Nichols or a Lewis or Killebrew and some of the other people who are in there? What makes you the best candidate? What do you bring to the table that none of these other candidates bring?
Well, look, there are 8.
Get that mic just
Gotcha. Well, there's 8 people in the race if you include the general as well. And if you got 25 signatures and 25 people that want to support you, you can get into the race. So they can go ahead and run the race. But to answer your question, I'm already doing the work. We've already talked about economic development in particular areas. I want to make sure that things that other communities have, I want my communities to have as well. There's one thing that your other guest talked about as well. He said not being bought and sold. And I'll just put it this way. Neither am I. Regardless of what people may say or whatever like that. I think I'm one of the only sitting council members that has ever given back money to an organization. And I say that because it was my third race, and there were a couple of issues that came up. They were popular to some, but I had to go back and look at my community.
Okay.
So I'm about to answer your question this way. There was an initiative to where the easy route would have been to go with the little pep rally that was at City Hall and raise people's taxes. Now, you already mentioned the areas that I represent: Boxtown, Grays Manor. You got Indian Hills, you got West Junction, Walker Homes, Boxtown, Whitehaven, a lot of those areas. I had to make a decision. It was either to raise taxes to keep particular things in government as is, or to go by what the state informed us by paying our bills. I did the math. And on average, I would have had to have raised taxes by about 30 to 40%. Now, to some people, that might not have been anything. And some of the people that I represent have a fixed income, or they don't make a particular salary. You're talking about them making decisions on whether I'm going to keep the lights on, or whether I'm going to feed my family, or whether I'm just going to put some clothes on some of my children's backs. So I had to make the hard decision. I was the 7th vote in order to make sure that we passed particular reform. Otherwise, we would raise taxes twice, according to my calculations. But let me say this to that person. Now, that was a very difficult decision for me, but it was the right decision, Thaddeus, and let me tell you why. Let's say you were in my district, and let's say that you were one of those individuals on the fixed income. I can come back to you and say, Thaddeus, guess what? I have to raise your taxes $400, but guess what you're going to get out of it? Better yet, let me tell you what you're not going to get out of it. I'm not going to pave any roads. I'm not going to take care of your potholes. Your park's not going to get anything. Your library's not going to get one more book. Your community center's not going to get one more piece of infrastructure. But that money that I'm raising your taxes on is going outside of the city. You'd be like, So let me finish the story on this. Somebody on Fox 13, one of the people that did not like my vote, said, well, you know what? We gave Councilman Ford $1,000 and he didn't vote the way he was supposed to. You know what I did? I went down to Tri-State Bank, cut a check for $1,000 and gave that organization back their money. Oh, they were mad at me, but I'm like, look, I'm not going to sell out my people. And then at the end of the day, you think I'm worth $1,000? Okay, $1,000. But at the end of the day, I believe I did the right thing. And then I went back and self-reported what I did. I had 14 town hall meetings right after that because it was almost another election year. I told the people what I did. I said, look, it was either me doing this or doing this. And I said, if you got a problem with what I did, next election, go ahead and vote me out. I'll shake the person's hand and say, congratulations. I'll go back and work at the funeral home where the people don't talk back.
Well, damn.
At the end of the day.
Let me take it. On that note, you done got your film director's license?
I'm halfway there.
You gonna get you some embalming license?
The directing part. The directing part. Look, you know how that business is. You used to be in it, so you know.
You're not gonna be like your daddy and be the world's greatest embalmer?
I don't think anybody after my father's gonna be the greatest embalmer.
I don't care who works on the body for him, he still has to come back and watch. And I gotta go to commercial break, but you come from, especially when I look at your dad, and I have to say this to the community who jumps on this Ford thing. All the Fords ain't alike. You get you some Fusions, you got the Lincoln product that's made by Ford. All the Fords are not alike, and I've been around most of them for many, many years. The one thing I liked about you, Junior, when your dad decided that he was no longer going to run, be on the council, I believe it was 2 years, for 3 years, you were at TSU at the time, right?
I was at TSU in Vanderbilt, and I was teaching 9th grade geometry.
Okay, he was at TSU and Vanderbilt and teaching. Ed Jr. came to Memphis for 3 years. His attendance record as a non-councilman was better than some of the council members. He came in every other Tuesday. He was there for the first committee meeting. He was there until the gavel was hit by the chairman at night, learning all of the processes of being the councilman. Not just somebody like some of these people I see just running for office. He knew the job. His dad was already there, but he didn't just take the Ford name. He didn't just take his dad teaching him. He came to Memphis and he was set in the committee meetings. He was set in the council meetings. He would go down for the general meeting and he was learning, taking notes. He did that for 3 years and was elected. This is a young man that knows the job. And these are folks, they probably some nice peoples. But we don't need people training on the job on you. We're going to take a commercial break and we'll be right back here on the Thaddeus Matthews Show. Well, y'all need to turn up your phones. The mics are in the studio. There's no difference in the level of the mics tonight than they normally are. Are you a voter in the city of Memphis? So I noticed tonight on social media, this ain't one of them shows that, and I know it because many of you are from around the country, around the world. This ain't one of them shows. Tomorrow night, I got you though. Tomorrow night we'll be dealing with rape and sexual abuse. My guest that's going to be here for Sarah Dysfunction at the church will be my guest on tomorrow night.
Since the beginning of this ministry about 2 years ago, God has tremendously blessed the Naked Truth Liberation and Empowerment Ministry. We're located at 3835 Roddy Militant Road. We're now offering the rental of our facilities as well. In our fellowship hall,
She's working with one of them over there now.
100 people. You can have your weddings, your baby showers, whatever your occasion happens to be. You can even rent it for your repasses. We have a full-size commercial kitchen as well. You can also rent this massive gymnasium that holds over 600 people. Just call Dale. Call Dale 901-435-6161. 901-435-6161. Have all of your gospel concerts, have all of your big meetings, all of your big affairs, your flea markets, whatever you want. Sunday morning at 10 a.m. for our morning worship here at the Naked Truth Liberation and Empowerment Ministries. If you do not have transportation, call us by Friday and we'll be glad to pick you up so that you can come and experience the Naked Truth.
As a home or property owner, you want to make sure that your property has a
I don't know why this thing's been buffering tonight.
That's why you need to elect an assessor who's not on the job training but has experience. Lori Ingram has 15 years of experience.
A run 2018 back.
Assessor's office. Lori Ingram is acutely knowledgeable of each and every department in the assessor's office. She has skill sets that include writing policies and procedures. Lori Ingram has worked closely with appraisal and reappraisal teams to make sure that property owners are treated fairly. Lori Ingram is committed to produce fair and accurate property values, to making the assessor's office accessible to each and every citizen of Shelby County, working with every citizen to provide transparency. She's committed to
Andrew blocked me.
disabled
You like me yesterday.
Lori Ingram is the qualified candidate to run
Yeah, Andrea blocked me.
on-the-job training, vote for experience. Vote Lori Ingram for Shelby County Property Assessor. Paid for by the committee to elect Lori Ingram for Shelby County Property Assessor, Donald Spencer. Treasurer.
The name Floyd Bonner means a legacy of experience and leadership in Shelby County. Currently serving the citizens of Memphis and Shelby County as the Chief Deputy with the Sheriff's Office, Floyd Bonner has 37 years on the job.
Assalamu alaikum to you too.
Floyd Bonner is the best choice to serve as our next sheriff.
Del Sonsi, what's up?
Memphis and Shelby County to elect me, Floyd Bonner, as your next Shelby County Sheriff.
Make your vote count. Vote Floyd Bonner for Shelby County Sheriff.
All right, you gone. You know I ain't sleep, so you gone. See, when y'all come in with the city comments, your ass is automatically blocked from the page. The areas you want to hit, that haven't hit.
Hey, Dad, I'm gonna play the symposium commercial, and I'm gonna come back after that one.
Okay,
But you might need to take one more commercial break.
okay, I'll do that. Give me, when I come back, give me about 10 minutes, and then give me a commercial break sign. No, he come on Monday night. Yes, I know Courtney Pruitt. I ain't been by a funeral home in 2-3 weeks, huh? I know it's still there. We got a house full of non-talkers. talk to you about what? It's almost over. This was politics. Y'all know y'all didn't like no politics. I look at the numbers tonight.
Don't you dare ditch this symposium on rape, assault, and abuse on Saturday, April the 21st from 2 up to 4 p.m. at the Liberation and Empowerment Ministries, 3835 Roland Road. For more information,
$20 at the door, right?
Yes. 5, 4, 3, 2.
All right, and welcome back. Dr. Janella McSwain will be my guest on tomorrow night. We will be talking about sexual abuse, rape on tomorrow night. And she'll be telling you her story. She'll be here at the Naked Truth Liberation and Empowerment Ministries in our symposium on Saturday from 2 until 4 in the afternoon. But it's going to be a very interesting show. So y'all on social media, y'all didn't like the local politics, and I don't really do local shows and subjects anymore. I really don't care for myself that much anymore. But it is election season here in Memphis, and I got to deal until I get my national TV show. I still have to deal with some of the local issues here in Memphis, and I know the local issues are boring to people in other places around the country. I apologize to y'all, but I promise you it'll be on and popping on tomorrow night. My guest in my second hour here is Edmund Ford Jr., your present city councilman for District 6, who has served for 11 years, who has done a tremendous job. Tell us some of those things you did, Junior, and why the people should get ready for you to do those very same things in District 9 on the commission.
Let me talk about two things recently that I'm working on and I hope that I'm very successful at, and I've been working with commissioners as well on the second item. But the first thing, there's been a little bit of buzz, you know, the Fight for 15, we've had Black Lives Matter and other activists that have pushed for $15 an hour. And I've listened to them locally and I've listened to them nationally. And I did a little research on if we could do something like that with the city of Memphis as a government employee. Doing some research, I found out there were about 420 individuals that were making less than $15.50 an hour.
Working for the city of Memphis.
Working for the city of Memphis.
Okay.
And it was a diverse group of individuals. You had pipe layers, you had PSTs, you had people that worked in the library, you had traffic engineering jobs, you had grounds maintenance, you had a plethora of people. And when you look at those 420, almost a quarter of them have given 10 or more years of service. You actually have somebody that's been working for over 40 years and is only making $29,000 a year. But it's been given.
What does that break down to an hour?
It breaks down to less than $15 an hour, about 14 and change.
I've been working for 40 years.
40 years.
Yeah, they can't afford to retire.
So I tell folks, and you know, those individuals probably don't have a collective bargaining unit or a union that's going to be their supporter. Well, I plan on being their supporter. We had a resolution that I put together where I wanted to make the base salary $15.50 an hour. There have been many media outlets that have left off the 50 cents. With an extra 50 cents an hour is $1,000 a year that I know anybody could possibly use to feed their family, put in savings or something like that. And if we're actually going to tackle this issue called poverty, we need to give people a living wage. And I feel for those 420. I appreciate the work that they do. Sometimes people don't see the work because they're working behind the scenes just to make sure that the services that we get every day are being met at a proficient or an advanced level. So the city council on Tuesday, we're going to listen to the mayor's budget. I have no idea what's going to be in the budget yet, but I threw out there early how much it would cost in order to bring the lowest person, the lowest individuals to a base $15.50 an hour salary. And we're not just talking about 420 people, we're talking about 420 families. And I know I talked to one of the clerks on the county side, he said, I got people making $11, $12 an hour full time. I said, well, let me get on the county commission and we need to go ahead and remedy that.
So, and I guess that was gonna be my next question, was once you go to the commission September 1st,
September 1st.
that you will be looking at the very same things
Exactly.
for county.
Exactly.
Now, you would leave the city council when you're elected, September 1st.
Correct.
Your council term would not be up.
No, it would be an unexpired piece. It would be 1 year and 4 months.
Okay.
Unexpired.
So do you think that what you're trying to get done for the city, you'll be able to get it done before September 1st when you go across the street?
Well, I'd like to do that. Let me just say this, regardless of what people think about local politics and otherwise, I'm gonna be honest right here. The ensemble of city council members that I work with now is the best set of council members that I've ever been able to work with. I did not have that in the past, and several of
Well, I
these-
ain't totally agree with you on them, but.
Yeah, well, there might be a couple, well, we'll agree on a couple of things.
Okay.
But there were council members that I might not have agreed with, but I never would have asked for ill will to happen to anything with them or anything in their district. Unfortunately, that did happen before this council got on. But with this council, it's not Democrat, Republican, Independent. It's all about.
So you said that everybody's working for the people.
Everybody's working for the people. I mean, I'll just ask you this: how many arguments and things of that nature have you seen in the last 3 years?
Well, not public, but I haven't seen the public arguments like we've
Prior to
seen over
that,
the
you
years.
have seen it.
Yeah.
We don't do that here, and hopefully we can do the same thing on the county commission. I don't know who will be serving September 1st, but I would love to make sure that the same relationships we have right now in the city council are the same ones on the county commission. So even if we agree to disagree, we don't have to put a public show out there because the average person is not going to want the pep rally. They want to see service done. They want to see the job done that we elected people to do.
Let me ask you something else real quick, because I gotta take another commercial break. Economic empowerment and jobs.
Yes.
What's your proposal to bring jobs into the district?
Okay. Well, today we got another 500 jobs for our youth, which is a good thing.
Okay.
We have 15,500 unfilled positions that I want to get filled. There are 3 challenges, and these are the 3 challenges that I want to remedy so that we can get the economic development and the skill set that employers are looking at. One of the challenges is transportation. You can live in South Memphis, but if your job is in Cordova and the bus is not running the way it needs to, you either get.
But what can you do about that on the county commission side?
Okay, you're asking the county.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, there is one individual that I am working with. I think he's running for David Lenore's seat now. And we are actually working on some proposals on what can be done as far as what matter may need. But we need to look at a blueprint to what not only gets people from point A to point B to work, but we have to make sure that people can get to the store and get to other places. And his name is George Chisholm. That's who I'm working with that. As far as looking at a couple other challenges, you have individuals right now.
Let me take a quick commercial break and we'll come back with that.
Sure.
We're gonna take a commercial break and we'll be right back here on the Thaddeus Matthews Show.
All right.
Look, I'm so tired of you, whoever you are on the page, either turn up your phone or shut the hell up, because you're bugging me now. With all of this, you can't hear. Shit, put it up to your ear. Fine, how are you?
How many I got left? How many minutes am I have left when I come back from the break? Six, okay. Hmm. Thank you. Do what? You brought a whole school in, eh? That's right. Yeah. Oh. How many more? Who is it?
You got sleep disease after this.
Bring me on back after this.
And welcome back to the remaining moments of the most controversial television talk show anywhere on the planet. And I know, these shows, these political shows bore you. Hell, they bore the hell out of me too. They do. And I really don't do, now that I have such a large crossover on a national basis with the social media, I don't do a whole lot of local stuff, but I get involved with the politicians, especially the ones that advertise on this show. I don't give a damn about a politician that don't pay me. I don't. If you are out there with a politician, see, anytime you're talking to a politician is working to get a job. And if that politician doesn't think enough of you to bring his ass to you and talk to you, the people in the community, then what you voting for him for? Okay? All these handkerchief head Negroes y'all got running for all of these various offices, they do not support black media, but they want black folks to give them their vote. I say, hell no, okay? I don't support them, I will not support them, and I'm asking those of you that support the Thaddeus Matthews show to not vote for individuals that do not support the Thaddeus Matthews show. That's just the way it is. I mean, no one is allowed. I don't even bring folk on my show. I don't bring politicians on my show that don't give a damn about the people, okay? Because if you don't give a damn about black business, then why do you have your black self running for office? When I look at some of these ballots, you've been played for fools. If you, as an individual in this community, you need a ballot to tell you who to vote for, you're a damn fool. If you walk up to a poll and you don't know who you're going to vote for, and all the pieces of paper got a different name on, it's because you have not researched, you have not did your due diligence as a citizen to find out who it is. Who is it that's running for county commissioner or running for county mayor who has my interest at heart? Those are the individuals that you are supposed to vote for. Leave their black asses where they are at the house if they are not going to support black folk in this community. I support Ed Ford. I've known this boy since he was, Jesus, a little bitty boy. Little bitty boy. I don't even think he was running around the funeral home.
Not yet.
He wasn't running around the funeral home at that time. But I've seen this young man who's grown up from a boy to a young man. I've seen him out in the streets. I know what he's done. When I can remember, Junior, you remember that time the tree fell on them folk house?
We fundraised and made the money.
We went out in the community together.
We did.
We set up a tent. I was on the radio at that time. We did a live radio show, raised about $6,000 for that particular family. That's the type of man that you need in office. These Johnny-come-latelys that are running into office, that Tawan Stout Mitchell, Steve Cohen, and all these other individuals are placing in races. These are political consultants who get paid, okay? They get paid to put people in races. So we need someone that already has the interest, already has the experience, and that's the reason I'm urging you, those of you who live in that particular district, I'm urging you to go out and vote for Ed Ford Jr. We have a few minutes. How many minutes I got left? Because y'all gonna give me a clock. In 1 minute, I want you to tell the people in this community why they need to vote for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the last 11 years, it's been nothing about service. As Thaddeus said before, I drove back and forth for 3 years so I could learn what I could do in order to make sure that I could be the best city councilman. I'm asking you to give me that same that same vote on May 1st, or if you can go out to early voting before the 26th, for me, so I can give you the same type of service. Economic development, check. Making sure that we have jobs, check. Making sure that we have public safety taken care of, check. I don't need training wheels, I don't need to learn on the job, I'm doing the job as we speak. I have legislation that I'm working with the county commissioners right now that I plan on getting passed, so that when I become that county commissioner, I can go back and still work with the city council and the state government and get the things that 38109 and 38116, as well as the entire county of Shelby, and what they need. I want to make sure that they have all of those things, so vote for me.
You don't need on-the-job training. You need someone that is already trained when it comes to handling your community, the things that you need in your community, economic empowerment, growth, dealing with poverty and blight in our communities. You need somebody that already knows the job, and that's what you get in Ed Ford Jr. On tomorrow night, I'll pick up the pace for all my social media folk that I lost tonight because I wasn't dealing with stuff that they like. And I understand if you live in Dallas, this is a little boring for you to be talking about a county commission and a county mayor in Memphis, but that's what I had to do. So political season is, for me, is almost over. So I probably will not have any more political guests on my show, and it'll be back to the grind that you love so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the baddest talk show host in the entire world, on the planet, in the universe. Unless they do this somewhere on the moon, somewhere else, I'm it. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Thaddeus Matthews, and until tomorrow night, talk the evening to you. Ooh. Lord, this medicine working on me. What moves I get in this bathroom?
Did you tell me to hurry up?
Yeah. Bye, y'all. I gotta go.